It's Tuesday, February 17th, 2026.
Mhm.
And looking at the labor market right now, it feels, well, it feels tense.
Yeah.
Like that strange quiet right before a huge thunderstorm.
That is the perfect way to put it. We're in this very specific calm before a very, very specific storm. I mean, if you just look at the calendar, we are staring down the barrel of a summer that's going to be historically chaotic for the U.S.
And that chaos is the perfect ingredient for a job market pressure cooker.
It's a pressure cooker we haven't seen in decades.
We're talking about the perfect storm, right? It's not just one single thing.
No, it's a convergence. In just 4 months, we're talking June 2026, the FIFA World Cup kicks off, matches in 11 U.S. cities.
And then right in the middle of all that soccer madness.
You get the semi-quincentennial, America's 250th birthday on July 4th.
Which sure is going to be a massive party. But you've brought in this whole stack of reports today. I'm seeing AARP, legal analysis from Stinson, Upwardly Global. And they all seem to suggest this is less about fireworks and more about a labor crisis.
I'd call it a labor vacuum. You have the world's biggest sporting event colliding with a once-in-a-lifetime national celebration. The sheer logistical weight is going to completely break the normal hiring patterns.
Okay, but here's the kicker for our deep dive today. It's not just about the jobs. It's about who can fill them. The rules have changed.
They've changed dramatically.
We've all seen the stricter enforcement, the site visits, the biometrics, so it feels tougher than ever for immigrants. But you're saying there's a paradox here.
A massive one. We're calling it the policy paradox. Because while it is absolutely harder to get in, a policy shift from late last year has made immigrants already inside the U.S. the single most valuable asset in the entire labor pool.
So talent that's already on the shelf,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Premium talent, but now at a discount for employers. We'll get to that legal twist later. It's a game changer for high-skilled roles. But first, we have to deal with the immediate crisis, the summer of 2026.
All right, let's dive into that. The event-driven surge. You've got cities like Miami, Dallas, New York just bracing for millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they hiring, like, right now?
Well, you start with the most obvious place, the stadiums, the fan zones. The number one job we're seeing a surge in is amusement and recreation attendants.
So ushers, ticket takers, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But on a scale that is just mind-boggling, AARP flagged this as a huge area. The pay, it's around $29,000, so it's not going to make you rich.
But the barrier to entry is super low.
It's incredibly low. If you can stand on your feet and point people in the right direction, you're basically hired.
Okay, but those millions of people, they need a place to sleep.
Yeah.
I imagine the hotels are panicking.
Panic might be a strong word, but yeah, it's close. You look at cities like Philadelphia and D.C., which are ground zero for the 250th anniversary, their bookings for July are already up 8%.
Wow.
So job number 2 is hotel, motel, and resort clerks.
And I'm guessing this is where having multiple languages is a huge advantage.
Oh, a massive asset. If you're a front desk clerk who speaks German or Spanish or Mandarin, you are a problem solver for that hotel manager. You're the one who can smooth over the chaos.
Okay, so we got the fun covered. But with that many people packed into one place, you've got to think about security.
Which brings us right to our third job, security guards, the observe and report roles. The projections were already for about 160,000 openings a year, but this summer is just blowing that up.
And the pay's a bit better there.
It is, yeah. Median is around 38,000. It's steady work. For an older immigrant, maybe someone who can't do heavy physical labor anymore, it's a prime target. You're a presence.
Now, something in these reports really jumped out at me. We always think about hospitality with these events, but you flagged delivery truck drivers. How does the World Cup impact, say, an Amazon driver?
It's the invisible infrastructure problem. Just imagine the gridlock in those 11 metro areas. Your normal supply chains are going to seize up. And on top of that, there's a lot of chatter that Amazon is making a real move to replace the Postal Service for its own network.
Wait, really? To take it all in-house?
That's the scuttlebutt. And what that means for jobs is a desperate need for drivers, not just the big long-haul CDL guys, though they pay well, up to 72,000.
You're talking about the last mile.
The last mile, the gig drivers, the van drivers. Because if the food for the watch parties and the merch for the 4th of July doesn't move, the whole thing grinds to a halt.
So if you've got a driver's license, you're suddenly essential infrastructure.
You're the lifeblood of the city. Precisely.
Okay, so that's the summer. That's the event bubble. But parties end. The World Cup packs up and leaves. What are the long-term jobs when all the confetti's been swept away?
The long game is always demographics. It's the healthcare juggernaut. The baby boomers are aging, and the data is overwhelming. They want to age in place. They do not want to go to a facility.
So they need an army of people to come to their homes and help them.
An army of about 730,000 new workers. Which brings us to our next two jobs: home health aides and personal care aides.
Okay, let's break these two down because I think people get them confused. What's the real difference in the day-to-day?
There's a big difference. A personal care aide is less medical. You're helping with cooking, errands, maybe some light cleaning. A home health aide, on the other hand, usually has some light medical duties, checking blood pressure, managing medication schedules.
But let's be honest for a second. The pay isn't great.
It's not. It's around $35,000. The work is physically and emotionally grueling, high burnout rate.
But that's also why the job is so secure.
Exactly. It is bulletproof job security. If you are willing and able to do this work, you will never, ever be unemployed.
There a kind of hack here? A way to get into the healthcare field that's, a step up from being an aide, but doesn't require 8 years of medical school?
There are definitely a few sweet spots. One that really stood out in the data is hearing aid specialists.
Huh. That sounds incredibly specific.
It is. But look at the numbers. 44 million Americans have some form of hearing loss, and that's only going up. A specialist just administers tests and fix the devices. You need training, but not a full medical degree.
And the pay difference is significant.
It's huge. It jumps to over $61,000, double the aid salary for much less physical strain.
What if you're more on the technical side of things?
Then you should look at the entry-level tech roles. The reports highlighted phlebotomy, that's drawing blood and EKG technicians.
So, needles and hearts.
Needles and hearts. But the key is the certification time is short. Months, not years. Phlebotomy gets you over 42,000, EKG gets you over 50. It's a really fast on-ramp to a medical career.
And what about someone who already has the experience? Maybe they managed a clinic back home.
Then please do not apply to be an aide. You should be applying for a medical and health services manager role. Hospitals are businesses. They need people who understand operations. The median wage there is almost $118,000. Don't sell yourself short.
Okay, I have to stop you there. Don't sell yourself short. That's the perfect transition to this policy paradox you mentioned, this new fee that changes everything.
This is, without a doubt, the most critical piece of the puzzle for 2026. In late 2025, a new rule went into effect, introducing a massive fee for H-1B petitions.
How massive are we talking?
For any new petition for a worker who is physically outside the United States, $100,000.
Wait, stop. $100,000 just to file the paperwork.
That is correct.
I mean,
yeah.
That kills the process, doesn't it? Who on earth is going to pay $100,000 premium just for the chance to hire someone?
Almost nobody. And that's the whole point. It's designed to stop companies from importing labor. But now think about the flip side. If you're an employer in, say, Chicago, and you desperately need a software engineer...
You're only looking at people who are already in the country.
Exactly. If you're an immigrant already here, you have a green card, you have an EAD, you just became the most affordable, most attractive option overnight. You are now local talent.
So the high-skilled immigrants already here are basically holding a golden ticket.
In theory, yes. So let's look at the jobs that benefit most. Number one is information security analysts.
Cybersecurity.
It's a $10.5 trillion problem. Companies are bleeding money to hackers. They need people now. The pay is around $125,000. Here's another policy wrinkle. The H-1B lottery itself is now weighted by wage level.
Weighted how?
It favors the highest paid candidates. A level 4 role, that senior level, gets 4 entries in the lottery. A level 1 entry level gets 1. So if you're a senior cyber expert, the system is literally rigged in your favor.
Okay, but what if you're not a tech wizard? What if you're a numbers person?
Then you look at accountants and auditors. There are 72,000 new jobs projected, median wage of about $81,000. And a lot of these roles can be remote, which is a huge plus.
But isn't accounting totally different in the U.S.?
Well, the principles are the same. Math is math. But the rules are different, sure. The U.S. uses GAAP. So if you were an accountant in India or Brazil, you know the job. You just need to take a course to learn the American rulebook. It's a bridgeable gap.
You also flagged operations research analysts. I have to admit, that sounds a little like corporate word salad. What do they actually do?
It sounds boring, but it's actually pretty cool. Think of it like Professional what-if scenarios for a business. You use data to model things. What happens to our supply chain if a hurricane hits the Gulf Coast? Or what's our plan if the price of oil doubles?
So they're basically professional fortune tellers, but with spreadsheets.
Pretty much. And they get paid over $90,000 to do it.
And I see financial examiners on the list, too.
That's all about compliance. With increased regulations, banks need people to just comb through their records and make sure they're not breaking any laws. Very detail-oriented, pays around $90,000.
All right, so that covers the office jobs. But let's get back to the physical world for a second. We talked about events, but someone has to build and maintain everything.
This is the hands-on economy. And this has always been a sector where immigrants are vital, construction workers, and site supervisors. Immigrants are 3 times more likely to be in these jobs than U.S.-born citizens.
And the pay can be really good.
The range is huge. You might start around $45,000 for labor, but an experienced site supervisor can clear $85,000 easily.
Now, you had a really specific note in here about bilingual industrial workers in the Gulf South. Why so specific?
This came from a report by CDR General Services. They're seeing a huge demand spike in Louisiana and Mississippi, especially in maritime and petrochemical plants.
And why bilingual specifically?
Safety. It's all about safety. If you're on an oil rig or in a chemical plant with a multicultural crew, a miscommunication isn't just awkward, it can be fatal. So companies are desperate for people who can bridge that English-Spanish gap.
Which is a perfect lead-in to the ultimate bilingual job. Translators. I keep hearing that AI has made this profession obsolete. Why is it on your list for 2026?
Because AI makes mistakes. It hallucinates. It's a great tool for a first draft, but would you seriously trust an AI to translate a legal contract? Or a medical consent form?
Absolutely not. No way.
Exactly. So the job has shifted. It's less about translating from scratch and more about being the human expert who verifies the AI's output. High-stakes fields need humans, especially for German, Mandarin, Arabic, French, and Japanese.
So AI changes the job. It doesn't eliminate it.
That's right.
We've just got a few minutes left. Let's quickly hit this last corporate and education bucket. There's one here that sounds incredibly stressful but pays well. Chief Human Resources Officer.
It is a very tough gig right now. Turnover is at 15% in Fortune 200 companies. HR is on the front lines of AI implementation, the return to office battles, economic anxiety. People are burning out fast.
So if you have a stomach for that kind of stress, there are openings.
And a salary of about $140,000.
What about insurance sales agents? Why is that suddenly a hot job?
In a word, climate. We're seeing more wildfires, more flooding. Insurance premiums are going through the roof. Policies are getting canceled. That means people are constantly forced to shop around for new coverage.
It's a volume game.
It's a pure volume game. You don't need a degree, just a license. And finally, tutors. The education system has a teacher shortage, and tutors are filling that gap. It's often remote, the hours are flexible, and you usually don't need a state certification like a full-time teacher.
Okay, that is a packed list. We've got the event surge, the healthcare demographics, the high-skilled policy shift. But knowing the jobs is one thing. If I'm listening to this right now, how do I actually land one?
You have to be strategic. And step 1 is to Americanize your resume.
This is where so many qualified people trip up. What are the things that get a resume thrown out immediately?
Photos, your age, your religion, your marital status. In many countries, putting a photo on your resume is standard. In the U.S., it's a huge red flag. An HR department sees that as a potential discrimination lawsuit, and they will just toss it.
So keep it simple, text only.
Keep it text-based. 1 page is ideal, 2 pages max. And you have to use what's called the CAR method.
Yeah.
Challenge, action, result. Don't just list what you did. Responsible for sales is meaningless. You need to say, faced the challenge of low revenue, took the action of implementing a new sales strategy, which resulted in a 20% increase in sales. Metrics. Americans love metrics.
You have to get past the robots first.
The applicant tracking system, the ATS. If the job description uses the phrase project management and your resume says team leadership, a bot might just reject you. You have to mirror the exact language.
But really, the best way to get a job is to skip the bots entirely.
The hidden job market. The stats say 80 to 85% of all jobs are filled through networking. They're never advertised publicly.
And this is the part that terrifies people. Networking sounds so transactional, like you're begging for favors.
It shouldn't be. You just have to flip the script. Don't ask for a job. You ask for an informational interview. You reach out to someone and you say, I'm not looking for a job right now, but I really admire your career path. Could I have 20 minutes of your time just to ask for some advice?
People love giving advice.
They absolutely do. And once they know you and they like you, they'll be the one to tell you about that job opening that's coming up next month.
Before we go, one last legal landmine. We mentioned the H-1B fee, but there's a big change with EADs, the work permits.
Yes, this is critical. Back in October 2025, the rules changed. The automatic extension period for a work permit used to be up to 540 days. That gave you a huge cushion while you waited for your renewal.
And now?
Now it's back down to 180 days, which means if you don't file for your renewal super early, you could have a gap in your authorization. And employers are conducting strict audits. If your papers expire, you're out. You cannot mess around with those dates.
Wow. It's a lot to take in. You have this summer of chaos driving immediate demand, an aging population creating this permanent need for health care, and this bizarre policy that makes local talent more valuable than ever.
It's a really complex puzzle, but all the pieces do fit together if you just know where to look.
So here's our final thought for you today. We mentioned that 85% stat that most jobs are found through networking. So if you are spending all your time just clicking apply on job websites, you are fighting for the scraps.
You're competing with the entire world for just 15% of the jobs.
Exactly. So do this. Close the laptop. Who is the one person, an old colleague, a friend of a friend, that you could email right now? Not to ask for a job, just to ask for 20 minutes of their advice over coffee.
That one conversation is worth more than 100 online applications.
Good luck out there. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you next time.